What the fuck is the internet?
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another. Here's what we're looking for, moviepoopshoot.com.
Poop shoot. Yeah.
This is a site populated by militant movie buffs. Sad, pathetic little bastards living in their parents' basement, downloading scripts and what they think is inside information about movies and actors they claim to despise yet can't stop discussing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the GTAS podcast. Today is our 30th episode, and we are recording it on Saturday, June 30th, 2018. I'm your host, Bob Rusin, and this week is kind of different. I don't know if you noticed, but that's not Adam who shed 200 pounds. That is Matthew, the Dr. Danko from Why Did Not You Warn Me podcast?
Yeah, I guess.
It doesn't really
Why
have
Did Not You Warn Me. That's kind of just the name.
Yeah. And I just was thinking, I'm like, I don't think it is called the Why Did Not You Warn Me podcast. It's just Why Did Not You Warn Me.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for doing this, because we had discussed last week, we didn't know whether I was going to do it by myself or do it talking to that SpongeBob behind you, or if we were just going to not do the show. But Danko's always been a good friend of the podcast, and just of a good friend of Adam and mine. We all work together at where I met Adam is where I met you. Were you working before to Adam, or were you working after to Adam? I can't remember.
I think he was there, but he had like very limited abilities, so he'd like show up for.
Well,
like,
that sounds
one
like
day,
that sounds like Adam currently is very limited. Yeah. Adam is a man of very limited abilities, but his ones that he's good at, he usually is pretty decent at.
Yeah, and I didn't really know. Like, obviously, I didn't know him when I first met him, but like I couldn't get a read on him because he has such a weird sense of humor and like. Just a way about him. So.
Well, Adam's a weirdo. He just
as
is.
I've come to find out.
There's not many people out there like Adam. For the longest time, it was the same thing. No one really knew what the hell to make of Adam. And then one time, our manager Andy,
I met him on the way out.
Yeah, that shithead. He didn't like Adam, so he told him to go next door and like file some stuff. Mm-hmm. And so then I just was like, hey, I'm gonna go over there too, because I like in my head I'm like, I can't fucking stand you, Andy. You're a piece of shit. I hope you know who I'm talking about. I hope you're listening to this podcast. You probably are not, but you are somebody that I do wish got hit by a bus.
Damn. Like
really badly.
Yeah, for the brief moment I met him, he seemed like a dick.
Yeah, he was a big scumbag. But Adam, whenever I went over there, I just kind of was bullshitting around, and I think he was wearing something that had to do with Metal Gear Solid, and then we just talked about how much. And then Adam and I are doing a podcast like 2 years later, and now Adam's over my house all the time calling me a shithead. Like, it's a weird thing how that happened. But I almost called you Adam. Danko, we'll talk about your show real quick. What is, for those who are the uninitiated, you were on a guest before.
Yeah.
And that was one of our really, really early ones. We were probably within our 5 through 10th show. You might have even been earlier than that. But
so like seasons 1 and 2, like you're just talking about this new space.
We're just the new space.
Okay.
The reboot guys talking about shit podcast.
Yes, the GTAS podcast.
Yes.
It was one of the very early episodes.
Definitely.
Like, we organized it. You're like, we want you on the show, and then I just happened to be planning a trip to Pittsburgh.
And
I wasn't living here at the time, and it just worked out.
Yeah, because we were having guests all the time on the old show. that was just strictly audio.
Yeah.
And that was the one that Adam controlled. And then whenever we did our hiatus is whenever I took it over.
Reins,
and I took the reins and said, hey, so we're going to do it at my house, and we're going to do this right.
Yeah, no.
So
I know I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I really love the setup that you guys have. Like,
it's such a goofy little
so
setup.
Cool. But you have all your shit here in front. You have the Matthew Danko podcast. Rest in peace.
Oh yeah. I always forget that that's there. But yeah, that little sign. If you're watching the video feed right now, this little sign that Godzilla's holding is a reference to the original Matthew Danko podcast, which is actually, I'm pretty sure you're aware of it, but that is the big inspiration is why me and Adam even started, because we would listen to your podcast every once in a while and be like, he just seems like it's oddly appealing to just listen to Danko just talk and ramble by himself. But, like, we can do that, can't we?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, so I'm a very quiet person in general. And I'm sure as we were working at the Exchange, you were guys like, what the fuck is this kid doing? He's just, like, filing and not really saying much. And then I'd spit a few things out, like something about Batman, and then just go back to being quiet.
Yeah, I think what I would do with you is what I'd like to do with a lot of people who are... Because I'm actually very much... introverted myself whenever I'm outside. I mean, you see me acting like a goddamn goofball half the time, but that's because I'm comfortable around you.
Right. It took a while to get to that stage.
Yeah. And so what I like to do with people is just kind of like crack jokes at them and get them a little looser so that they'll actually start talking. So, you know.
And that's exactly how it went down.
One of my favorite things is I think what I would like do with you or anybody would just be like, what do you think's a worse movie? And I would say something like, I don't know, Hollow Man or Batman and Robin. You know, something like, what's the worst movie? And then you'd be like, usually what the person would say is, and then I'd try to take the counter and be like, well, no, Hollow Man is really bad, but it's a really fun movie. And, you know, so that's what I would like to do with people in to kind of break them out of their shell, at least because I was in that manager position. I'm like, look at me. I'm the most unintimidating person you can possibly come up across.
That was a pretty chill place. But
it was. It had its ups and downs.
Oh, totally.
Great place, though. I mean, I believe you were my third generation exchange family from the 8 years that I worked there.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But my third generation is the one I spend the most time with.
Yeah.
I really only get to see the first generation maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I hardly ever see... two. I never see two.
Yeah.
And then you, Adam, and then we had that party a while back, like Nate, all those people,
like everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool.
It's a group. It's so funny. I know we're just kind of like bullshitting here, but you know, Danko's here. Let's just talk about let's talk about some stuff. What I always liked about our little crew was that no group of people are so different yet so alike in the same way.
You know, yeah. I've always thought that, honestly.
We all are the most different people. Like, we have Nate. We have Brandon. We have Steve. We have Adam. We had Nika. We had Chad.
Yeah.
Every one of those is their own personality.
Yeah, they kind of fit into their own category.
But when you put us together, something just clicks and how we all just have the same interests.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. I think that was always the cool thing I loved about going to work, was that you never knew what like personality you're gonna get, or like you'd get the Sunday crew where it was more relaxed, and then Nika would come in and just blaze up the whole place in a hellfire with Nika, like just having a bad day.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was a really fun time. So.
It was. I don't think I've ever had a group of people I went to work with that was exactly like that same mesh of like...
Yeah, it's a really, really odd... It's just an odd pairing. And mostly why I'm doing this is to make you feel bad because you couldn't make it to the last get-together.
I do feel terrible. Like, it does. We were talking about this. It seems
what
always
happened?
Shit happens. So
all the bad shit happens to you.
So that was Mother's Day weekend.
Yes.
I had plans to stay in Pittsburgh because I'm now living in Pittsburgh for a while. It was the first Mother's Day I was going to get to spend with my mom. And so Hillary was like, all right, I'm going to go visit my mom. So
And-
we were splitting up for the time, and I was like, perfect.
And
They're
Hillary's
gonna-
your girlfriend and
yeah,
also the co-host of Why Did Not You Warn Me.
Exactly.
Wow,
Thank you
that's
for
weird
that.
sinking in there.
So I was like, this is perfect. They're having a get-together Saturday. I'm going to do that, drink a little, and then I'm going to go home, sleep, and then have Mother's Day with my
Yeah.
mom. And she was on her way to see her mom and her grandma because it was like a joint trip. And they live in Maryland. Mm-hmm. And so she was driving. She got halfway, and her car just stopped working. Like, she was in the middle of the highway driving, and then it just shut off on her, and she starts freaking out and pulls over to the side of the road and, like, turns off the car, calms down, and then tries to turn it back on, and it's just not starting.
No.
And I'm like, well, you have the battery jumper in the back of the car. Maybe the battery died for some reason. Like, that's my go-to. It's like, check the battery. Like, hopefully it works. But she's like freaking out. I'm at work about to go to the party, and she calls me and is like, my car broke down and there's literally nothing I can do. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, not only do I feel bad because I have bailed on certain get-togethers and things like that, there's always been a reason.
There's always been some sort of reason.
And it's not like I don't want to come. Like, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm going to get to see everyone. I had the action figure in my car. Like, for your shelf here, it's a little mini version of myself.
Yeah,
I was
because you
gonna
make
gift
action
it to-
figures for fun.
Yeah, and I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to pick up like a 6-pack. It's going to be awesome.
It was a fun time. I
It
mean, we
looked
had
fun.
we had
You
everybody
guys
here
sent
till
me pictures.
I know we felt bad because you were like, I seriously want to like cry right now about how badly because I can't believe you got everybody, and it's hard to get everybody.
I know. Everyone's like freedoms, their schedule just lined up for that one night.
It just worked, and I just was on everybody's case about like, are you coming? Are you coming?
I know.
And, you know.
And I was so looking forward to it. I was planning on it. It was awesome.
Well, this is what happens whenever I plan something and not Nika. Like,
Maybe, I guess.
you know.
And so what it ended up being, so I had to drive out to her.
Yeah.
Like halfway. It was Cumberland, which I don't even know what fucking place that is. I think it is literally starting in Maryland, but it's literally the halfway point between here and Maryland.
Okay.
So I called AAA because I'm a AAA member. I had to be there so they could tow the car back. I have like 100 miles free on it, and it was going to be like 120 miles. So I was like, this is fine, whatever. Turns out it was the timing belts. They snapped when she was on the highway.
Oh shit.
And so like we had to get it all replaced. It ended up being like $500.
God
but
damn.
yeah. And I was just, the whole ride home, I was just like, they're there having fun, and I'm just driving back.
Well, to be honest, if anything, it shows the quality of your character because most people, for example, my mom, not too long ago, maybe about a month back, my battery died in my car. And I call my mom and I'm like, hey, Mom, I know you have the AAA.
Yeah.
Do you think I can use it? She's like, where are you at? I'm like, Cranberry. And she's like, I'm not driving out to Cranberry. Cranberry from here is only about a half hour.
Yeah, no.
She's like, it's 8 o'clock. I'm not driving out there. Do you have anybody with you? I'm like, yeah, I have Katie. She's like, cool. I'm going to send you the AAA. You tell her that she's me for like the time being. And like, if that was anybody in my family and like
Yeah.
I broke down in Maryland, they would just be like, well, no, I'm at this party. You find somebody who can pretend to be me, and
Jesus.
you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't imagine Denko coming to the party while Hillary is stuck in Maryland with broken down car, drinking, and being like, yeah,
fine.
you know, that's fine. Just find someone to be a AAA guy.
Yeah.
You know, because AAA never asks
That's
for
true.
the actual person.
They really don't. Like, I could have just gave her the number and been like, you tell them you're the AAA member.
Yeah, but
or
you're not a
whatever.
shithead.
Well,
so.
that too, and like it's a place she's not familiar with. It's
Mm-hmm.
luckily it only started getting dark like because this is like in the beginning of summer.
This was around like 6 or 7 that you were kind of either on your way
Yeah.
or saying, hey, I don't know if I'll make it.
Yeah, and it was like only 45 minutes where it was actually dark, so I felt comfortable with her being where she was. But it was still like there wasn't even like a gas station she could like walk to or anything like that, and I wouldn't really suggest her walking out on the highway by herself.
No, that's not the
then
greatest idea.
It was the AAA guy who wasn't like AAA. They have partnerships with all kinds of towing companies. That was
Oh,
like,
yeah. It's normally never AAA that
Yeah.
actually comes out.
exactly. And the guy was just like, "Oh, so we have to go to Pittsburgh?" And I was like, "Yeah, like that's the whole reason I called. Like they sent you over. Like it's gonna be fine." And then he just was all it's like super late at night. We didn't get home until like 1 because the guy didn't get there until like 2 hours later, and we're just hanging out. And I have my car, so we're gonna drive back in that, and he's gonna tow the truck, and we don't have to deal with the weirdo that's behind the wheel. And like we get back to Pittsburgh, and he's like, "Yeah, now I have to drive back to Cumberland." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry."
Sucks to be you, dude.
Like, I don't
this
know what
is your
want
job.
me to
You
tell
chose. Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you want me to tell you?
And the whole time, like, she's apologizing. I'm like, it's not your fault. Like, the car just fucked up.
Man,
like,
fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would say. Like, oh, I gotta drive all the way back. Man, shut up.
Like, yeah, really. Like,
Get over yourself.
it was awful. And then, like, I sent you guys that video. Like, I'm home, everything's fine, but it was just messed up. And
Adam being the ever so charming man that he is, first question goes, what type of car is she driving? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I think you sent that it was like a Honda. And he's just like, that's bullshit. Those things never break down.
And I was like, yeah, I fucking know that. But it did. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I took a picture of the car with its hood up.
Adam, he would not shut up about it being a Honda.
Yeah.
Like, dude, shut up. No one cares. It's a Honda. Like,
it's a 2001 Honda. And she got it used from her mom who got it used. So it's like on the 3rd generation of drivers. And like, I know they don't break down often, but it had dry rot in the timing belts and they snapped.
Yeah.
So they replaced all of them and everything. And then like, yeah, the minute I sent like, I might be late, whatever, Adam's like, there's like a snowstorm or something. Cause one of the times I didn't come, there was a snow thing that happened.
He'll never let you live that. He'll never let you live that down.
Totally get
ever.
It. I know.
The road's covered in snow or something like that. Yeah. And he's just like, why is he down that fucking road? And he like, just every single time
I don't know how else fucking get to the house.
That was so funny.
And I totally understand. Like, I'll never live it down.
He always rips on you about that snowstorm.
That's why I was like, whether there's snow or not, I'm making it to this show right here.
Yes, that is true, because I'm glad that you actually could make it. You came right after work.
I did. I changed in the car, and I had my steel-toed muddy boots on, and I was like, I'm going to bring an extra pair. And
well, I don't know if you've ever listened to some of the podcasts I do where Adam's just like, it's not going to work this weekend. We need to do it during the week. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, you know how much I fucking hate doing the show after work? Yeah. Like, do you know how much I hate it? Because I wake up at 5:10 every single day, and I don't get home until like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I always look like shit. I always like my hair looks like disheveled. Mm-hmm. My eyes look sunk in. I'm always wearing a dirty ass white t-shirt because I'm like, all right, Adam, let's do this, because now I have to do show notes before he gets here.
Right.
And then Adam always says, oh, I'll be there at 7. Nope. Like nope. 9. It's never 7. It's never 7. It's always 7:45, 8 o'clock. Sometime 45 minutes after he says he'll be here. Yeah. But I hope Adam's listening to it, because I'm just shitting on him the whole entire time.
He'll what the fuck did I miss?
Yeah, what did he miss? Yeah. But here's the best part is Adam's not missing anything, because I tell this to him every 5 seconds. I'm like, wow, Adam. When I say, Adam, can you actually be here at 6 and not say you're going to be here at 6? He'd be like, all right, I'll try.
Well, yeah, you should tell him to be here at like 4, but plan for him to be there at like 5:30.
I never can tell, because sometimes he just doesn't. Sometimes he is on time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, once in that blue moon, like the time that I tell him be there an hour and a half before we actually start, he'll be there an hour and a half actually we start, and then we're just stuck. Like, dude, I'm not even home. You gotta wait outside.
Yeah, he should wait for you for a change.
He should.
Yeah.
He should.
Yeah.
So, well, here's the one thing I don't even know what he's going to do, because I go on vacation soon.
Oh, fuck.
So,
that's right.
I don't know if he can get you again, or if he can find someone else, because I don't know. Adam doing the show by himself is...
Look, if he prepares for it, I'll make sure I'm here so that it doesn't go to hell. But,
okay.
Or I can, like, at least... have a backup sheet of things that we can talk about just in case.
Yeah, or what I'll end up doing is making it and then leaving it here for him to do it and see how well it goes. He knows how to operate the whole entire... He knows how to do everything. But, I go on vacation in mid-July, so it's like 2 weeks from now. So we'll have to see. We'll figure something out.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If not, maybe I can do it like right before I leave.
Yeah.
But hey, Adam, me and you, and then you and Adam,
would be a pretty interesting show. I'd listen to the shit out of that show.
That would be interesting.
Adam would just be off the chain goofy. He'd be so... Adam's very reserved on the show. He never really goes too crazy.
Yeah.
But if it was just you and him and he doesn't have like a mediator like me to be kind of like...
Because I'd kind of just let him do his thing and he wouldn't be able to rein himself in.
No, Adam, once he starts, he cannot stop.
Yeah.
But, okay. Danko, this is weird because I know a couple times I'm going to call you Adam.
It's totally fine.
So
it's just
weird.
that dynamic.
It is. It's really weird.
Like I was telling you, I think it was before we were recording, I said on our Why Did Not You Warn Me podcast, I introduced it. I was super tired. I was like, this is Matthew Danko from the Matthew Danko podcast. And she didn't miss a beat. She was like, don't call it that. And then I was like, oh, well, shit, actually.
I love when she does that.
Yeah.
That's such a funny thing. I love the dynamic with you anytime you say, like, either she'll say something and then you'll just kind of, like, mutter under your breath. You're like, don't call it that.
Don't call it that.
Don't call it that. Or she'll finish the don't call it that.
Yeah.
Thing.
She's pretty good at that.
Yeah, she's got that on point. Oh, well, you know what? Before we go into the topics, let's just what is, for those out there, what is Why Did Not You Warn Me? Because it's not like it's not anything like this show.
No, it's pretty different.
It's very, very different. So, you know, just for anybody who out there is listening who just wants a different podcast, or if you like Danko or you love the sound of his voice.
Yeah, I know. I do. The thing that'll always stick with me is when you told me you listened to the Matthew Danko podcast, you were like, I just like clean my room and have your voice on in the background.
Yeah.
It's very soothing. And
and now I drive with you in the background. It's very much works. It's very soothing. Especially because I know you, so I know exactly how you look at certain perspectives of life and certain entertainment things.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I would listen to the old Matthew Danko podcast, all I did was just put it on my computer and But
so the Why Did Not You Warn Me podcast, which I've never actually called it like you said. It's just called Why Did Not You Warn Me. It is a show I do with my partner, girlfriend, roommate, Hillary Crum, who I met on working backstage on a theater project a while back. And so if you want to check out our podcast, you can go to facebook.com, YouTube, also Why Did Not You Warn Me. Sometimes I do regret calling it that.
It's a lot. Yeah, don't call it that. It's a lot easier to find than this podcast. It's very difficult to find our podcast because we fluctuate between guys talking about shit, guys talking about with all the little like the asterisks and the symbols, all that, and then now we're just the GTAS podcast. But I will post a link if you want on the bottom of the video.
Just because there have been times where I've Googled it or YouTubed it, and Why Did Not You Warn Me, since it's grammatically incorrect, it'll be like, did you mean, why didn't you warn me? Or something like that.
Why did
fuck, I didn't even think about that. But it's based on, I fuck up my speech all the time. Sometimes I get very excited about things, and I just don't get my words right. My brain is moving way faster than my mouth. And there was a time we were coming out of a grocery store and like I stepped off the curb, but I didn't realize I was stepping off the curb, and I was just like, why did not you warn me? The curb was there to her, and we just died laughing for like the next hour, just like over my stupidity. So that's where the name comes from. But it's literally just like, she's a big reader. She reads like a book a day, it seems like. So we do a little bit like what she's been reading that week, and then we switch it over to me on what I've been watching that week, and then we sort of have a collective like what we've been doing together that week.
Yeah.
Just so to keep a sort of structure to it, because like I can ramble for a lot of the podcast, and she has to be like,
she always has to be like, well, all right, that was my 15 minutes. Now you got the rest. Now you got the hour 45.
And that's kind of because when I'm on the microphone, I just can't stop talking. Like I was saying, I'm pretty quiet in person, but in front of the mic, something happens, and I just can go on about shit forever.
Yeah.
And so she is sort of an activist and like a human rights person, and she gets really like social justice-y with her shit that she reads and what she's into, and it really opens my eyes to the shit that, like, because I'm a straight white man, there's a lot of shit that has brushed past me in my previous lives, I'll say. So like I'm not as aware of the social issues that are out there, so having that voice, she definitely like makes me more aware of it and shit like that, which is very cool.
Well, that's what's always great about having a co-host that doesn't always agree with you. Like, Adam and I are usually mostly on the same page.
Yeah.
But
there'll be one or two things that you differ on, but it's...
Yeah. But there's just this thing about, accepting someone's perspective on something that, that you don't see it that way. And so it's really funny because, a lot of people who listen to the show have actually told me, it's like, well, one of our, like, perfect example is one of our reviews on iTunes says that Bob can always see, like, the goodness in bad shit.
Yeah.
And then Adam, if it's even, I think they said if it's 51% bad, then it's just always bad with Adam. So it's cool to have someone who brings out that different perspective.
Yeah,
so
and that's totally what it is, because like she was always a reader throughout her life too. So she didn't really watch much television or movies, and like that's what I was put in front of a television as, like, that's your babysitter, kid, like just watch all the shows, and like that's how
pretty much
am
same
who
here.
I am. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much here.
So when we go to the movies a lot now, she's seen so many more movies with me than she has before, and so she's starting to look at movies in a different light too. So I get that side where she's like, so explain like what happened in that movie, or like I point out a certain camera shot, not to be a dick, but just because I notice it and I think it's really cool. And she's like, oh, I fucking didn't even see that before.
Well, it's kind of funny because whenever you were doing your one of your podcasts, it was actually just after the week that I had seen Love, Simon.
Yeah.
So I was actually sitting there, I'm like, wow, this is probably the first time that Danko and Hillary and I actually have seen the same movie and are on the same page probably about what this movie is like.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good movie.
It was definitely fun.
I thought the ending was kind of cheesy as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was just sitting there, I'm like, wouldn't it be great if nobody showed up?
In the back of my head, I did have that thought. I was just like, I mean, it would be such a down note for that movie.
How much money do you think he spent on that Ferris wheel?
Oh, I mean, that's like the climax of the movie there.
I know.
Yeah, he went around so many times.
I know.
And what's a Ferris wheel like? If that's like a legit
I would assume,
carnival?
if I had to assume, I would assume that it'd probably be at least $1 per ride.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say $30 maybe.
Yeah, he probably dropped, because I would think that it's not just here's $1, here's a ticket.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those things where you have to buy like $10 a ticket.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm thinking that he might have dropped a little bit more than.
Yeah, it might have been like $60.
Well, that was to find his. What do they call it?
I think.
What's the name of the guy that he's?
Blue is the
Blue.
name of his character.
Yeah.
That he's talking to online, but Wally West is how I was thinking of him. And I'm like, Wally West showed up. He's saving the day again. It's fine.
Yep.
No, I do like the guy that acted in it. I can't think of his actual name. He was
I don't know.
Jurassic World too.
Yeah, he was in
Jurassic World.
Yeah, me and Adam, Adam just watched Jurassic World, not the new one, but he saw the one not too long ago. We talked about it, and he was like, "Oh, I actually thought that movie was actually really good." And I'm like, "Yeah, I told you it was really good," but he's like, "Yeah, but the trailers weren't good, so I didn't see it." I'm like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah.
Like, why would you not see it? And then he ended up seeing it. I'm like, okay, Adam, see, you can't just...
Right.
Why don't you just trust me sometimes? When I say watch something, like, I don't know if you've listened or not. I don't know how much of the show you actually listen to, but...
I try to catch...
Adam and I have this deal where I'll watch the anime series One Piece if he watches the animated 2012 TMNT.
Okay. Yeah,
So... He's only one episode in because I forced him to watch it because he forced me to watch an episode of One Piece.
Yeah.
Adam, I'm a little further on One Piece now.
Yeah, that's
just
the
saying.
thing. Hillary and I are doing the same thing with, she's letting me watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer because I had seen a few episodes.
Doctor Who.
And she's watching Doctor Who. But we're doing it together so that we can sort of, if we have questions, we can ask them right there and shit like that. And,
yeah.
It's taking her a little more time to get through Doctor Who just because of a lot of...
Where did you start with her real quick?
Ninth Doctor.
Oh, you started out straight up ninth.
Yeah, because she had even said she had watched the Ninth Doctor.
Uh-huh.
But she was doing other shit and she couldn't really grasp onto it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, we don't have to watch every episode because not all of it is like plot centric. Like there are a few one-off
episodes. That's actually my I remember two people. Mm-hmm. Do you remember from the exchange Eric Emrock?
Yeah.
Remember Emrock?
Yeah.
Emrock became a huge fan of Doctor Who, and he's like, I don't really know where to start with the show. It's kind of daunting of a task to where to start.
Totally.
Do you know what episode I told him? It was the last episode that I had watched, and I was like, you know what? This is the episode you should watch.
Which Doctor?
I gave him a 10.
10?
I gave him a 10 at Doctor episode.
Well, I mean, the go-to is Blink, but he's barely in there.
No, yeah, I didn't give him Blink. It's in the first. It's in the first with him and Rose.
Okay.
It's a one-off.
You didn't give him like the monsters one, with.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, I did not. The one with the guys obsessed with Blue Sky.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Not Fear Her.
No, I gave.
That's a really.
I gave him Girl in the Fireplace.
Oh fuck, that is an awesome episode.
That's
I think Pompadour.
Yeah, I think that episode sums like what that 10th Doctor is like the whole entire time, and it shows the kookiness of the show, but also that the show can have really serious moments, and that the show is actually really well acted. And yes, it has some cool practical effects, but then it also can have some kind of cheesy CGI, like when he goes to that mirror, it's one of the worst thing ever. But it also has one of my favorite lines in all of Doctor Who, whenever Rose looks at him and says, "Are you all right?" And he looks, and just you could tell he's not, but he just goes, "I'm always all right." Yeah. And that's it. And I'm like, this show is so good. And I gave it to Emrock. Yeah. And he was just like, wow, you really hit me with a really tough episode. Like, why was it so funny? And then it just went really dark really quick.
I'm going to have to store that away. That is an awesome episode that I always forget about because it's one of the... I think it's a little more underrated than a lot of
it's one of my favorites. You know, obviously like something like Blink, but I think it's probably my favorite. I have the score of that episode on my iPod. I still have an iPod, guys. But I love that episode, and I think that's a great intro because Madame de Pompadour is not the typical dame in distress.
Yeah, no.
Like she's
pretty strong.
She's strong. She's smart. She's very like. The only thing that's kind of weird about it is that he kind of falls in love with a kid.
Oh yeah,
that's the only like weird aspect. He meets her whenever she's like 9. He goes back and then she's fully developed, and he's just like, all right, I'll chill here with you.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
He dated her for a long time too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, David Tennant dated. I forget her name, but he dated her for a little bit until eventually he married
Georgia,
the one who ends up playing his daughter.
Yeah. That's weird too.
That is weird too.
But I know, I'm sure you know the granddaughter or the actual daughter of the 5th Doctor, which is super cool. Which is
my favorite of the old school ones. I like the 5th Doctor.
Totally.
I love the
celery and whatnot.
You know what the point of the celery was, right?
I have no idea what the point of it was.
Oh, the point of the celery stick was, I believe it was an old English thing that when people would do mining, it was kind of like the canary in the coal mine.
Oh,
the doctor would wear the celery stick because if he would go into certain areas that might be radioactive, the celery would start to wither and die. So he knew, okay, I got to get the hell out of here. So that's actually the purpose of the celery stick.
Yeah, I never knew that.
If you didn't know that,
that's awesome.
Which I thought, because the rest of the outfit's a cricket outfit.
Yeah,
so.
But she noticed the change. Hillary noticed the change immediately when we got Tennant versus the 9th Doctor.
Oh, it's a massive tonal shift.
And she never got comfortable with Rose. She's like, I fucking hate Rose. Like, Rose is so dramatic.
You mentioned that when you going back, that Rose kind of bothered you. After a second look, Rose. You know what? Rose just doesn't bother me. Not as much as Martha kind of does.
Oh yeah.
Martha's.
I always go back and forth on whether or not I like Martha, because on one hand she's super strong and knows she doesn't need the doctor. That's what she learns.
Yeah, but mentally she can't be without him.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's really odd. Unlike Rose, she just it took a while, but you saw their relationship kind of bloom a little bit, and so they were kind of like, oh well. Yeah, they do have a chemistry together, and it is sad whenever they go away. Yeah. I honestly thought they should have just left Billie Piper out of the show
Yeah,
after
then
that
called
and
it
not have
done.
it come back because she came back with those fucking weirdo teeth
Yeah.
and she couldn't talk right. It was really weird.
was rough.
And Martha was just weird because she was like, oh, I don't know who this guy is and I'm just like in love with him. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I liked her in the last couple episodes with him.
Yeah.
Because she kind of became more independent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Martha's the one who kind of bothers me more so now.
Okay.
But all right, enough of the rambling because
Yeah.
I think we just did 45 minutes of just rambling. I would assume.
Yeah.
But you know, I haven't seen Danko in a long time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to him about a couple things.
Well, yeah.
It's my show. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
But okay, let's start going into some news topics today, which
All right.
is we have 3, but I feel like we can go a little bit in depth. We're going to definitely go into depth with the last one, but the first 2 topics, what I like to do is with Danko, Danko's not very much of a gamer, so anybody out there, they got the E3 show a couple weeks back, so we're going to be doing mostly movie stuff today, movie and TV. So, because Danko's, besides that we know that you play No Man's Sky, we don't really know what else you play.
Yeah.
So I decided to tailor the episode a little bit more towards things that Danko could actually talk about with me.
I appreciate that.
So this is what my first thing was. All right, so Danko, not Adam. Are you a fan of Star Trek at all?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. Both
What-
old and new. I would
Okay,
say.
like the movies.
Yeah, movies like not the original first Star Trek.
No,
movie,
but the 2009 and up.
movies, and I mean there are some old school.
Yeah,
Star Trek
why not?
movies, yeah,
But what do you think of those? You enjoy them? Like
the
they?
J.J. Abrams universe.
Yeah,
like
the Kelvin's timeline.
Yes, honestly, I was so glad. Like as much as I loved watching the episodes with my dad as a kid, I thought they like really kicked the show in the ass, like, and made it not updated, but like I could see more people being interested in Star Trek.
My sister likes the 2009 Star Trek.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like it was very adaptable for a lot of people, being like, I thought they just talked like philosophized in space and all that shit, but like there's action and shit, and like the characters,
Recognizable characters.
exactly, and like Chris Pine does an excellent job at being Kirk, and
love
same with Zachary Quinto, is that his name? Yeah, being Spock. Like they have an awesome chemistry.
Yeah, the chemistry just works. I love the 2009 one.
Yeah.
Even with its kind of goofy flaws, but a lot of people mostly complain about Eric Bana as the Romulan guy, Nero, which I just think he works.
Yeah.
I really do.
I had no
And
problem with him.
Did you see all 3 of them, or did
Yeah,
you?
I
Okay.
watched all 3. And I love the third one.
I love the third one too. I thought that in that movie, the way that they handled Leonard Nimoy's death was like the best way someone can do a tribute to somebody.
Totally.
And when he pulled, like, I don't cry in a lot of movies, but when he pulled the picture back, and you see the old crew. Like I'm getting like emotional just
dude,
thinking about it.
I'm too.
It's because
Getting
I'm
goosebumps.
I literally got goosebumps right now. It's pretty crazy. I think you're pretty well aware how much of a Star Trek fan I am. Down to the point where my middle name pretty much now is Tiberius because I just for anybody out there, I decided in 2007, I think I was like 16 or 17. I just didn't like my middle name, and so I changed it.
Yeah, I've never known your middle name. Like,
Do you actually know it now?
No, I don't. Tiberius is what it is in my mind, and that's
Nobody knows what my middle name is.
Yeah.
I believe Adam does, but a lot of people do not.
Yeah.
And the best part is you know that you've done something right whenever anybody asks. If someone were to go up to my mom and say, what's Bobby's middle name?
Yeah.
She'd probably say, he goes by Tiberius. And she just accepts it.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty
I'm a
awesome.
huge Star Trek fan. I have all of it on Blu-ray. I have the
yeah.
whole original series. I wish that they would come out with The Next Generation in a complete set of the Blu-ray. But I've always been an original fan guy, more so than Next Generation. But, you know, I like all the Star Trek stuff. Even in the Star Trek Discovery, if you like the new movies, you might want to give Discovery a chance.
Yeah. I've just heard about it. I haven't
It's
actually watched
it's
it.
way better than it deserves to be.
Yeah.
It really.
I kind of thought, like, the really, guys, you're doing this?
It works. It
awesome.
Just works.
I'm so glad to hear that.
So if you ever get a chance, I think even they just pull like they have LGBT. I don't think they have a transgender person on there, but they have a lot of gay characters. They have a lot of very great. One of my favorite characters is just this random girl on there.
Yeah.
She's a main character, but she's kind of ditzy, but she's smart. She's like my favorite character on the whole damn show. So I mean, if there's ever a shot that I think the way the characters are written, if you and Hillary ever decided, I think that would actually be a show that Hillary could get on board with because of just the representation in it and just the diversity of it is great. Totally. So, and I had a lot of issues with the thought of it. But going into it is that Star Trek 4, we don't know what's been going on with that because after Beyond did not perform as well as it probably deserved to. I just think they waited a little too long and I think that its trailers were god awful.
Right.
They were god fucking awful.
They were. They like.
I was really nervous
because it's the third one. It's a Star Trek movie. Like I'm gonna go see it anyway.
Yeah.
But the trailers did not do anything for me.
No, they were awful.
And I was like,
they're like Kirk's on a motorcycle, like jumping up and down, like doing motocross. Like what the fuck is going on? But. So the fourth film was kind of in limbo, and so they were talking with Zachary Quinto.
Yeah.
And they asked him, like, what's going on with Star Trek 4? Because I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there was these things that Paramount's really looking into possibly having Quentin Tarantino direct a Star Trek. Do you have any idea about this?
I did not hear about
that.
Wow.
We did this story a while back.
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino went on this public record being like, I want to do a Star Trek movie because he's a huge Star Trek fan.
Yeah. No,
he loves the philosophy of it. And he's like, I want to do it. And they were like, I don't know. And then people were like, yeah, do that. And
that's the thing is like he has a very specific style to his storytelling. And
he's also never done a property.
That's the thing. He's always done like his own shit.
Yes.
So having him like at the reins of a franchise.
He said he's like, I want to make it R. And they're like, we don't know if we can do this.
Yeah.
And I kind of had an issue with it being R because just making something R for the sake of being R is just not necessary.
Right.
You don't, like, Star Trek is just not that type of franchise. It's like Star Wars. I don't need to see people having sex and swearing, saying motherfucker every 5 minutes in a Star Trek film. I just don't.
Yeah.
I love Quentin Tarantino. He's one of my favorite directors. But I like Quentin Tarantino doing that. But if you could find a way to almost rein in Quentin Tarantino and maybe do... If he has to do it R-rated, okay. But they asked, they're like, hey, Zachary, what's going on with this Quentin Tarantino? Is this happening or not? And he said that... He's like, I don't know what's going on. Apparently, they have 3 scripts going on.
Yeah.
They think that they want to do one and another... He's like, I'd love to work with Quentin Tarantino on a Star Trek film, but I know that he's writing one. Simon Pegg and Doug Jones, who wrote Beyond, are doing one. And then he says that another group is making one, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And since now this is even better, what do you think they should do at this point? Do you think that they should proceed with the Simon Pegg and Doug Jones, even though Beyond wasn't really that big of a financial hit? It did okay, but it didn't do great.
It didn't do what I think the first one did.
Yeah. Well, or do you think it would benefit with saying Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek? Like, you want to get something that raises eyebrows.
That's true, and that's kind of the thing that I'm struggling with because I love Simon Pegg as a writer and an actor, and like everything he's done with the Cornetto trilogy with Edgar Wright and all that shit. And I do think he is a big enough Star Trek fan. I mean, that he can put that fan spin to it and still, like, make it what you would look and be like, that is a Star Trek film to me. But, like you just said, having Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek on it, that's like an alternate
It makes you
universe
smile.
type
It
thing.
makes you smile thinking
does.
about that.
It's like I would have never in my entire life thought that could be possible.
That this could be a possibility.
Yeah.
Here's how I look at it. It's kind of a double-edged sword for me. while I thought that I think Star Trek 1, the 2009 reboot, is better to me than Beyond.
Yeah.
But I think that Beyond is a better written and overall probably a better film. But I just love the first one. I just think it flows so well.
It's fun to watch. It you're not really feeling bored throughout.
No, it just there's something about it that just works.
Yeah, totally.
I can't say it's the same for Star Trek 2.
I don't really count that one. It was cool to see everyone back.
I liked it, but I was like, once
on my list.
I just it was. There were just certain parts that I was like,
yeah.
I like the whole idea of Khan.
Yeah.
And I loved Benedict Cumberbatch's version of Khan.
Totally.
But I didn't. There were a couple things about it that I was like, triple blood, Spock screaming Khan, because I can't figure out what is going on. Maybe I'm just being ignorant, but I can't figure out what's up with Spock's emotions. Like, can he just go around and just say, look, I'm kind of Vulcan and I'm human, so I'm not completely... Right. But he just always... I don't know. I guess it's that just duality of being human and Vulcan. He doesn't really know what... He's just kind of imbalanced emotionally.
But I don't think it comes across that enough on screen to be like, so it totally makes sense that this is happening.
Yeah, it never comes, they don't explain it very well.
It's just like, that's just super weird.
But here, that's the double edge. It's like, yes. Am I curious? Yes, I'd really like to see.
I wish it could be the Simon Pegg script with Tarantino directing it.
Yeah, but do you really think that Quentin Tarantino would accept something that's not his script?
No.
That's
totally not.
No.
Not even a
little
bit.
I think Quentin Tarantino sees as, look, I'd like to do this movie, but I'm helping you out by doing this. I don't need to direct your Star Trek film. Right. I can see him like, do you really think I need to do this film? Do I really need to?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
This is a good impression.
Totally. What the fuck is this? Do I really need to do this? Why is Spock talking? Why is Spock acting like this? Why is he making out with Uhura?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
That's Quentin Tarantino in these things.
And if you take away, if he's writing his own script, he's very much the director of I'm telling this story, I'm telling my story.
Don't fuck with it.
Don't fuck with it at all. So if he's going to direct it, he's going to write the script for it, and there's really no way to get around that.
And here's the other thing. Quentin Tarantino at the same time is an attractor to people who want to work with him.
Totally.
Because best of both worlds would be they do both. I'd like to do just Star Trek 4 and then his own Star Trek.
I would love that.
But I just don't think it would ever... I think they're going to have to pick what they want to do.
If the rights ever go to DC, I'm sure that'll happen.
We'll get into DC's bullshit later. But I think that it's really funny because his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that's been coming out. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, that cast is insane. Mm-hmm. And people are just jumping. That movie's not a big budget. And you know that these people are probably taking cuts just to be in this film.
Them, yeah.
And that's what's so crazy about this idea. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because I was like, this is such a cool idea. Star Trek 4, while I think people want to see Star Trek 4, I don't think Star Trek 4 makes the most sense.
Right.
And here's why. Star Trek 4, you're bringing people back a fourth time. Whether or not they're actually under contract to be in a fourth film, we don't know. Most of these people, including Chris Pine and Simon Pegg, are very big people. And Zoe Saldana, she's taken a little bit of a back seat recently, but you have that. You have Chris Pine, Simon Pegg, and Zoe Saldana. Those are probably the three biggest names in there.
Yeah.
So you got to renegotiate their contracts.
Oh, and wait, who's the guy that plays fucking McCoy?
Carl Urban. Yeah, Carl Urban. But he's another one who's super great. Yeah. I personally, I'll talk to you about this real quick. We can go into it more in depth in a little bit if you want. I think Carl Urban should be Batman.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
I think he'd be a perfect duality of it.
And I thought back when they were John Hamm and Josh Brolin, I heard one person be like, Carl Urban.
Carl
And I
Urban
was
should
like,
have been.
fucking right. That's amazing.
I think
didn't
he
even think of
looked.
that.
He just his face just reminds me of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Like that's what I see as Bruce Wayne. But we can go into that in a little bit
Yeah.
later. Here's okay. So those we'll throw Carl Urban in there just in case.
Yeah.
So there's 4 people you got to renegotiate contract. Their thought was they want to bring Chris Hemsworth into the universe because he played
Kirk's dad.
He played Kirk's dad, and so you got that big name. You can bring him in there. And so you're like you're starting to talk with all these big actors now to negotiate a 4th film in a franchise which the last film did not do that great.
Yeah.
People liked it. I don't remember anyone who saw it actually being like, "Yeah, that was a bad movie."
No.
But so there's that. And then you got this Quentin Tarantino where you can hire all new people. You got people biting at the biting at what's the phrase? Biting at the knees, biting at their feet.
Biting at the feet, yeah, it's something like that.
I
know the
you
saying
get where
you're
I'm going
talking
with it.
about, yeah.
But they're clamoring to get involved with him.
Biting at the heels.
Yeah, biting at the heels.
it,
There you
yeah.
go. That's it. That's it. You just got this intrigue of what is this going to be like?
Yeah, totally.
And I think that when you see Quentin Tarantino Star Trek, I'm going to probably actually say I think the smart decision would be just to do the Quentin Tarantino one.
Yeah.
If it sucks, it sucks.
Right.
I don't think it would be bad.
No.
Because he's such a diehard Star Trek fan. But you ever realize that sometimes giving the property to people who are diehard fans is not the best thing?
Yeah, sometimes they'll go overboard with it and just fuck it up, and then it'll be like 2 hours of like callbacks or things like that, and then there's like, well, what's the story?
You know, what would be the really smartest. Would probably be the smartest thing to do. I would say when Star Trek Discovery season 2 comes out,
Yeah.
or if they decide to do 3 or however it works, I think they should let Quentin Tarantino direct 1 episode
Oh, totally.
and
Just to
see
test the water.
and see
Yeah.
how it comes off, and if this would be something people, because I think you have a potential moneymaker.
Oh, yeah.
Quentin Tarantino movies don't make a crap load of money at the box office because of what they're R-rated, really dark movies.
Usually.
And,
So it limits the
but they
audience
always
to get to
do
see it.
well enough because their budgets are usually pretty small.
Yeah, and that's what he's good at, is keeping the budget low while telling a pretty interesting story. He does get the gratuitous violence and shit in there, but it for the most part works.
I just think the Quentin Tarantino one would just be cheaper.
Yeah, totally. And the thing is, like, as much as we do see sequels and remakes all the time, like, it's way easier for a studio to greenlight, like, a 2 in a sequel than it is to a 4 in this case.
Exactly.
So, like...
Because you just get everybody under contract for, like, 3 movies or 2. Unlike this, I think they have to... I thought that the... Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I just burped there. I believe that they said that 4 was on contract, but for the sake of it not being, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, totally. And especially if 3 didn't do as well, I think I would cut my losses and not do a 4th, and then, like you said, give it over to Tarantino.
Yeah, it's just...
At least to try.
From a money-making... Personally, if you want to ask me what I would want, I want a 4.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
But I think of a business decision, because these businesses aren't in the business of making me happy.
Right.
They want to make money. And I think if you attach Quentin Tarantino, you know how many people would just be like, fuck, man, I want to see that just to see what the hell that is like.
Exactly. And the best example I can give to that is in the last season of Parks and Rec. They're all talking about the new Jason Bourne movie that's come out, and Kevin James is Jason Bourne. And I've always just pondered, like, what the hell kind of movie is that? And, like, Ben Wyatt's like, yeah, the franchise has really taken a turn.
Yeah, well, I still argue for the fact that they should really have made a Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season.
Oh, they should have.
I really think that would have been a funny
That one
fucking
clip, yeah.
movie. If anybody has never seen Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back and doesn't know what we're talking about, go to YouTube right now and just type in Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season. And it's a parody of, like, hey, how do we make sequels? Like, let's just put everyone just getting shot up. Like, it's a complete parody of itself. But it actually got Matt Damon. Is it Gus Van Sant?
Yeah.
Gus Van
He's on
Sant
set.
and Ben Affleck.
He's just, like, counting his money, and he's like, I
told you
said
I'm
I'm busy.
Yeah. So you should check that out because it's hilarious. And I think that Good Will Hunting 2, if you even just did it as like a 30-minute web series, it'd be the funniest thing
be
ever.
amazing.
It'd be so good. So
This Star Trek thing is crazy, but I'm interested because I feel like, to be honest, whatever decision they make, I'll be there opening day.
Oh, totally.
But if they say, hey, we're gonna go with the Quentin Tarantino, I'm not gonna be like, fuck, this is gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
But if they said, hey, we're just the Quentin Tarantino script's a little too raunchy for us, or we're just not happy the way it's going, I'm not gonna complain about it because it's just.
I would at least like to read it.
I would like to
at
read
least
it.
a few pages just to see what it would have been like.
Oh man, I just.
Because I can't imagine, like, yeah, he has such a distinct style. And
phasers
such a
don't
crazy
disintegrate anybody; they just go right through you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, going on to our next topic, Danko.
Yeah.
So Disney, after 30 years, is going to be shutting down their Disney Toon Studios. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I do know what it is. I did not know they were going to shut it down. It kind of makes sense at this point, unfortunately. Yeah. Just because of what Disney has become.
Yeah. So 75 animators and staff members will be laid off.
That's so upsetting.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. They haven't disclosed what's going on with their positions, whether or not they're just going to be moved over to the Disney Animation Studio, or if they're just going to be out of a job.
Well, I mean, if they're... I don't know. Disney probably has crazy contracts, so I'd imagine it would be way easier to cut them loose and then get new people for this new part.
I wonder how it works though, because John Lasseter was the guy who created that studio, and he's no longer with the company because of like sexual harassment stuff.
All that
so I don't know how that works if he's the one that made the rules. I'm sure they carry over. I hope so. I mean, I hope that like just because I feel like this Disney Toon Studios is kind of a. I feel like it's let's get rid of anything with John Lasseter.
Yeah,
and
probably.
I don't think they've really done much since.
Yeah.
So they're famous for anybody who's not aware of the studio. They're very famous for their direct to DVD sequels and prequels of popular brands.
Yeah.
Some people might know, like, Mulan 2, the couple sequels to Little Mermaid,
the Lion
Disney
King,
and the Enchanted Castle. Although I like Lion King too.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like some of them are not.
Some
bad,
of them are not bad. I
you're
believe.
Just like I didn't know there was.
Like there's a Return to Neverland.
Yeah.
That's really really good. But for some of those also. Who might not be aware, they did the theatrical run of DuckTales: Treasure of the Lost Lamp, which is a great movie.
It's awesome.
But one of their best, and I'm so glad it's finally getting the appreciation it deserved, is the Goofy movie.
Yeah.
They did the Goofy movie.
The Goofy movie is amazing.
It's so good. Anybody who's never seen the Goofy movie and just thinks it's... I mean, I can't say anything for the extremely Goofy movie, but the Goofy movie, you want to just talk about, like, just a good father-son story.
Totally.
There are some moments where I was like, God, this is heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it's Goofy, like the goofiest character, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And it gets deep.
It gets really deep with a father and his son, and just their relationship, and just your son growing out of being your son.
And I kind of went through that with my dad. We have probably all.
We all kind of had this moment where you're like, you don't want to hang around with it doesn't even have to be your dad. I mean, you don't want to hang out with your parents anymore.
Yeah.
But you eventually start to see. I always think it's a beautiful thing when people say that. One of my favorite quotes is from the lead singer of Blink-182. He was doing an interview, and he was talking about his song "Stay Together for the Kids," and he just says that it's such a good quote, but he says, I'm probably butchering it, but he goes, "We grow up thinking that our parents are these super powered, never do wrong type of people.
Yeah.
But when you get older, you realize that they're just people too, and that they have the same fears, the same anxieties, and the same flaws as you do."
Yeah.
And I think that the Goofy movie touches on that.
It really does too.
And it's a really well done movie. Yeah. I love that movie.
I rewatched it over the last summer because we were in Utah at the time, and everyone just kept bringing it up. They would ask, like, how many songs would you say are in the Goofy movie? And, like, somebody would be like, 3, and then list them all with the Powerline stuff and whatnot. And
That Powerline song is good.
it is.
It's like super Princey.
And then I was like, it's been so long since I've seen it. I gotta pop this in, and I found myself getting so emotional over it because it is like this father and son story that just like. It comes out of nowhere.
It does. It comes out of fucking nowhere.
You're just like, I'm in for a good time. Like
you got Pauly Shore eating cheese out of his hands.
Yeah, the Leaning Tower of Cheese.
Yeah, going ow, like super annoying, and then it just hits you like halfway through. Like
it's fucking nuts.
Oh my god, it is. And it's really well animated.
I know.
That scene at the beginning when she's like going through the cornfield, that like it looks like something out of Gladiator, but but like. It's so well animated, but that is a gem. I don't even think that's been released on Blu-ray yet. But
I don't think so.
I do have that movie, and man, do I really want to watch it.
Yeah.
It also makes me never, like, it really creeps me out with possums.
Yeah.
That movie really made me not like possums.
Yeah, totally.
But yes, definitely 100% recommend The Goofy Movie. It is a really good movie. I can't recommend it enough. It was one of my favorite kids movies growing up.
Totally, yeah.
And it isn't it great when you like a movie, but then whenever you get older, you like it for other reasons.
Yeah, it grows with you. Like,
you're like, wow, this is a lot deeper than I thought it actually was.
Yeah.
Like whenever I used to like The Page Master whenever I was younger, and then whenever I grew up, I'm like, I don't really like this movie. It's not that good. but then something like the fucking Goofy Movie is just like
hits you out of nowhere.
Yeah, it really hits me because my father and I don't have like the we're kind of like estranged. Like we don't really.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is.
Okay.
I know where he is.
Like,
he's not like a dad that I like. I was born and then I grew up with my dad, but unfortunately my dad's had a lot of issues growing up to the point where I've had to kind of separate myself. I know where my dad is, but I really don't know where he is in his life.
Right.
So
totally.
When I watch that or think about that, really hits home, guys. Really hits home. Some of their other notable movies were some spin-offs like Piglet's Big Movie and Planes. And its sequel. Because anybody needed a sequel spin-off of Cars.
Yeah.
The movie that didn't even deserve its first movie, let alone 2 sequels and 2 spin-offs.
Yeah.
But yet they're like the most... They're like... Besides, I think now The Incredibles, they were like some of its most financially...
They were, surprisingly. And like... You know, Toys R Us has gone out of business and all that shit. It's closing its doors, whatever.
Yeah,
it just closed.
We did. They closed yesterday, actually, and... Adam and I did a real big topic on 2 big topics actually on Toys R Us.
Yeah, but
they're out there if you want to check them out.
And I would go, I have to, because I would always go to Toys R Us since I collect toys and shit.
Yeah, you can check them out because what I do on some of my videos is I separate them so that you don't have to listen to the full entire podcast. You can just listen to a couple segments. So if you ever get a chance, you can check out our thoughts on that.
But every time I would go down the aisles and look for like my Marvel Legends and my Batman shit, there would always be a whole wall of like Cars shit. And I was like, how is that even possible? That movie hasn't been out for so long. But they sell, apparently. Like, people buy Cars shit. And it's surprising because, like you said, it got a spin-off and a sequel to that spin-off. And, like, the only... Any interest I've ever had in Cars had been the trailer for Cars 3 that looked like it was going off the fucking deep end.
Yeah, the trailer looked good, and then I heard the movie just sucked.
It was like this dark, like... the cars are going around the tracks and everyone's having a good time, and then it just gets somber, and then this tire flies and it's like, it all ends or some shit like that.
It was really going dark. But it's funny that we got 2 sequels to Cars before we got a sequel to The Incredibles.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Did you see The Incredibles yet?
Not yet.
Holy shit, that movie is good.
Yeah?
I think it's better than the original. And I think I'm in the minority on that one, but I think it's better.
Okay, I've heard from like a few people that it's better. I also have heard that it's way more for the people that saw Cars back when it came out. That like... they kind of have grown up and it was made geared towards them. Like, as much as it is a kid's movie, but, like, normally Disney movies are made with, like, they're made for kids, but there's some stuff in there that the adults won't mind watching. A lot of people I've heard say, like, Incredibles 2 is the opposite, where it's like, there's some stuff in there that kids won't mind seeing, but it's really...
Well, the main reason why I think The Incredibles 2 is better than Incredibles 1, it doesn't have a good as villain as Syndrome. Syndrome was great.
Syndrome was awesome.
Especially was awesome.
Jason Lee.
Yeah, Jason Lee doing it. Yeah, Syndrome was great. They don't have a better villain. Mm-hmm. But as the first one touches more on Mr. Incredible and his kind of midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Rewatching that movie, Mr. Incredible is the most least interesting character of the Incredibles.
Yeah.
Frozone's more interesting than he is.
True.
And I thought that the best character in the first Incredibles was Elastigirl, Mrs. Incredible.
Yeah.
And she's the main focus of this one. And it's just flowed.
Yeah.
There was not one point where I was like, this is going on to, like, it's great.
I can't wait to see it.
Although I cannot say it's not as good as Coco.
No, Coco was awesome.
Coco was so good.
Like, hit me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Katie was fucking bawling.
Yeah, dude.
Her fucking eyes out. And she's just like, what the hell's going on? Why am I crying like this? I'm like, because I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
I didn't think, like, I think it's, a lot of people would sit there and be like my mom, I was talking to her about Coco. She knows that I don't shut the hell up about Coco.
Yeah.
And she's just like, am I going to like it? I'm like, I think there's something wrong with you if you don't like it. But she's like, is it sad? I'm like, you know what? Here. She's like, because people tell me to watch Up, but they say watch Up because it's sad. I'm like, yes, Up is sad.
Yeah.
But Coco is sad because it's so sweet and so kind-hearted.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so sad. That point, I'm not going to go into majors. I mean, the movie's been out. If you haven't seen it, go ahead.
You're missing
But
out.
there's the scene, when he starts singing to his grandma. And there's nothing, like, super sad about it. Just a kid singing to his grandmother. But the way it's done and the importance of it just hits you
so much
hard. We're getting into these, like, deep kids movies.
I know, but, like, you're right. Like, and, like, before Coco had come out, Moana was sort of that for me.
I didn't see Moana.
See, in Moana, she's, like, not a princess, but she's, like, gonna be responsible for the whole island after her dad steps down or whatever. And she's like, her whole life,
she's like an heir to
kind of, but her whole life she's been like, I want to go out and explore what's out on the ocean. And her father, there's a whole song about, like, no one leaves the island and you're here forever because we have everything we need and happiness is right here. But she's like, I have a voice in me that's calling me out to the ocean. And then her crazy grandmother is, like, down at the water and just enjoying her life. She's like the town crazy lady. And she's just like, there's a voice inside you. You don't have to do what your parents are telling you. You can listen to that voice and do what it is you were destined to do.
Would Moana? Okay, since I didn't see Moana, I'm assuming you're gonna say I should check it out.
I would check it out. It might not make you as deeply emotional.
No,
as
I just want a good animated movie.
It is good. And you get The Rock as
The Rock.
Yeah,
The Rock's great. Would it seem like if you took Brave and Coco and kind of blended it into one movie?
Maybe.
Just maybe
a little bit.
Blended it into Hawaii.
Yeah.
You took the whitest girl and you took a little little Mexican boy, put them together, and you got a Hawaiian girl.
A little bit. I mean, yeah, that's a good way to look at it, I guess. But it's a lot of the themes.
Instead of a bear, it's The Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get, like, Alan Tudyk plays the chicken, Hey, who's this dumbass chicken that, like, he has googly eyes and keeps running into shit, and then he just keeps, like, clucking.
Okay, here's a quick little thing.
Yeah.
Do you like Frozen?
I do, but not, like...
I like Frozen.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, do you think it's better than... do you think Frozen's better or worse than Moana?
I think it's worse than Moana. I think Moana is better than Frozen.
Okay.
But
Is that with the hype not being there?
Yes.
Okay.
I will say that in Moana, you do get a song that's very similar in.
Yeah, I know what song you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know. I've not heard it, but I know that there's a song that's super catchy and super good.
It is.
My thing was, I loved Frozen when I saw it. Like, I still like that fucking show, man. I really like Olaf.
Yeah.
And when they did that little short in front of Coco, I actually enjoyed it, even though I was like, God, can this get the fuck ended?
It was very long.
It was very long.
That's
like 22 minutes.
Took me out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I would have liked it if it was just shorter.
Yeah, I liked Frozen. I know that it's a popular thing now to hate on Frozen. Frozen's a really good movie. I think it's a very good movie. Yeah. But I can agree that I never want to hear Let It Go ever the fuck again.
I think that was the biggest problem coming out of that movie. Like, to hear the longevity of that song. That
song was playing on the radio like months after it had been like out of theaters, and then it came out on DVD and it just reappeared. Like, that song's never gonna
exactly
escape.
And then eventually when it cooled down and everything, I popped it in and I was like, this is a solid film.
Did you just say cooled down?
Unintentional. Fuck, did not mean to do that. But when the heat died down, if you will, to go in the other direction.
Did you just say when the heat dies down in Frozen?
Yeah. When people stopped giving a shit, I put the movie back in, and it held up. It was awesome. I did enjoy it. But yeah, Moana will have those songs that just are catchy like that. But the guy that did the music, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who was the
Hamilton,
yeah,
he did that.
Yeah, he wrote it, performed it. He was the main guy on Broadway.
Oh, wow. Oh, no. I know he did Hamilton, but he didn't...
He wrote all the music for it, and he performed some of the songs.
Okay, then now I'm actually color me really intrigued on that one then, because I've only listened to songs from Hamilton, and I'm like, God, those are good songs. Yeah. They're really good. They're really well written.
I was... And I don't want to say this to be bragging, but I actually, when I was living in New York, I was lucky enough to see Hamilton.
Lucky motherfucker.
For $10 because they were doing Ham for Ham. So it was like...
Was it actually him?
Yeah, it was the original cast.
Cool.
And it was front
I
row.
am envious. I am very envious of you.
And I did not really know what I was getting into. I heard some things from like my theater friends, but I didn't know what it was going to be. And I was just like... Jesus fucking Christ, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Like, George Washington comes out on stage, and I'm like, yes, this is fucking George Washington. Is everyone freaking out like I am? And everyone's just enjoying the show, and I'm just, like, freaking out in my chair, and now in my mind, like, George Washington's black, and he can rap like that.
That's funny.
It's amazing. But
yeah, it's such a weird concept that shouldn't work, but it does.
It shouldn't. Everyone was like, this is the most ridiculous concept ever. Like, there's no reason why this should work, but it just does.
I love when that happens. Yeah. That's so great. So yeah, I mean, we're getting on to Disney. It seems like maybe there is a reason why they started shutting down the Disney Toon Studios, because we talked about Goofy movie and then we just started talking about how good Disney movies are currently. Like, Disney is pumping out quality after quality after quality.
That's true.
And yeah, I guess they don't need a Disney Toon to really kind of bog them down, because unfortunately a lot of those sequels are not that good.
Yeah.
I'd probably say, if I had to, for the ones I've seen, the Beauty and the Beast ones are god fucking awful.
Yeah.
I will say though that the 2 Aladdin sequels are really good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Return of Jafar and King of Thieves.
Yeah.
Talk about another daddy issue movie. King of Thieves is actually really good, and Return of Jafar was pretty good. Although they replaced the genie with Homer. Yeah. Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Dave
Castanello.
Yeah, I think that's it. Didn't they get Robin Williams back for the 3rd one though? I believe he came back.
I want to say he did.
I think he. Sure. I'm gonna just say he did. I'm pretty positive he did too.
That's cool.
So, unfortunately, yes, we always say it is unfortunate for the 75 animators, but hopefully they will get another job, or hopefully they'll find a new placement, because I never thought that the movies were so badly animated that they were unwatchable. It's just that the movies just weren't that good, but that's not the animators' fault.
No, that's like the studio being like, we want another sequel to Beauty and the Beast. Like,
pump out a sequel to Beauty and the Beast. Pump out a like.
It's like, how far can you take that story? Like, he's not.
Well, you said it in Christmas, man. You said it during Christmas fucking time.
We just tune into every fucking holiday. We'll do an Arbor Day sequel and like.
Yeah.
Just fucking go for it.
The trees talk in Arbor Day.
Yeah, that's right.
they go outside, and then they're like, the trees are just like, hey, what happened? I thought, why are we cursed again?
And all the trees like start a war on the castle because they think the castle infected them with this curse. So like all the trees start picking the roots out of the ground and start building an army.
They just become tree beards.
Yeah.
They just become Ents.
Yes.
And then I thought it was really weird that they were like, let's do a prequel to Fox and the Hound. I'm like, Fox and the Hound was a prequel to its own self.
Right.
It was a prequel in its own. It was a prequel. You don't need the in-between. Like, nobody asked for that. They did it just fine.
Right.
You needed extended versions of the Fox and the Hound? Don't fuck with the Fox and the Hound. What? That's a great movie.
It is. It
That
is.
is
It's also an underrated movie.
Yeah. I don't understand really the concept of... I didn't see Mulan 2, but I thought I heard Mulan 2 wasn't that bad.
I don't think I saw it, but I don't know. I thought the first one was badass enough, and like
I love the first one. You
Yeah.
excited for that animated, the live action one they're
I'm
doing?
curious. I want to see I would love to see a good adaptation in live action because the few live action not solely Disney movies, but like stories in that same vein that they've been making live action, I haven't really been excited for.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm kind of curious. Well, Beauty and the Beast let me down hard.
Totally, yeah.
I am excited about Lion King. The cast is incredible.
And I think that'd just be a cool fucking story to see with like more or less real.
Yeah.
lions.
Just do the Jungle Book, but do it. Adam likes the Jungle Book, and you know he's got that massive fear about talking animals.
Yeah, like that's his whole thing. Like
he hates talking
and
animals.
I was like, what do you have a problem with the talking animal?
He just says it's
And
unnatural.
it's like I go out into the wild, animals don't talk.
Yeah, but he watches anime shows where guys poke people in the head and their heads blow off. But that's I can't get down with anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
Weird, but
Weird fucking thing.
but he liked it, and I'm like, look, Adam, stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm kind of on the same boat as you, is that the live action ones don't really interest me.
Yeah.
Mostly because I like watching animated movies because I like animation.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
like
a
seeing.
huge fan of certain animation styles.
Yeah, like I'm a huge anime fan. I still have all of my Disney movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to try to upgrade them to Blu-ray, but that's a real daunting task. But I mean, I not to sound like Mr. Fancy here, but when I was a kid, one of my favorite movies was Fantasia. Not because I knew what the fuck was going on, but because it was really cool to look at.
Yeah.
And I just love the animation style and the music. And my mom was always like, you know how I knew that you were different? I'm like how different? She's like, do you know how I knew you just didn't follow the path of everybody? I'm like, why? She's like, you liked Fantasia as a kid. And I'm like, well, what does that have to do with anything? She's like, no kid liked Fantasia. and she's like, that's how I knew that you were just unique, not for the sake of being unique.
Right.
Because you were a kid. You didn't know. You just liked it.
It was at face value. That's what you liked.
And that's just what I liked. I even liked Fantasia 2000. A lot of people shit on that. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's still gorgeous animation.
Right. And that's honestly how I fell in love with Batman as a character. When I was growing up with the animated series, I fell in love with that animation style. And then I started learning about the character of Batman. And, like, it was a cool superhero, but, like, that style of animation, like, now I have all the Batman the Animated Series toys and things like that because I just can't, like, when I think Batman, that's what I think of. And it's true, like, there are animation styles that are just amazing and, like...
Yeah, I mean, it was just you know what? Here, we'll get into this real quick. So we're going to move on to the next topic, which is the DC Universe streaming service.
Yeah.
It's a perfect segue. I don't even think that was planned that way. But
not.
so that's what we're going into. So we're just going to continue the conversation into it. So the one thing with Batman the Animated Series is that Batman the Animated Series just cost so much, but it showed.
Yeah.
There never was a point where you're like, this doesn't work. I think it's a perfect show.
It really is.
yes, they dipped the animation down when they went into its 4th season, but I still thought the show was good, but you definitely could see a dip in the quality.
Yeah.
That was kind of when it became the new Batman Adventures, right?
Yeah, and they talk about, I have a book on, like, the evolution of the Batman animated series. Like, they still call it the animated series, even though it's, like, the new adventures of Batman and Robin.
Yeah, they just kind of classify it as
and
one
it
big
was
thing.
like, it was like the move into... I want to say, so Batman, the animated series was 96, maybe? Maybe it was 94. I don't know.
I think it was 96, because I remember when it was
wanna
still
say,
airing.
yeah.
I remember when it was first was on Fox Kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, Fox Kids was like 96, 97.
I want to say 96. So then by the time it got into its 4th season, there was supposed to be a shift in, like, what people were going to watch and things like that. So they wanted to update the quality of the animation style to a new, not a new generation.
Is this what the book is saying? Because I think there's a different reason why they cut that. I think it had to do with money.
I think that
And so
is
they cut the
totally
corners, and
Yeah.
they were like, all right, we're going to cut your budget in half. Make it work.
Yeah.
Or you're
And
out.
Then they're like, oh, so we'll redesign all of these characters to fit into our new budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book doesn't get into the budget, but I do remember.
I think that's the
that was
budget
the biggest
issues,
part.
because there's no reason why they were like, I think what they were doing was they were seeing that shit like Pokemon and all these like Digimon and all these shows were being able to be made for like nothing and still making a shitload of money, and they were like, cartoons don't need to cost this much, so let's cut this budget down.
Yeah. And for a show that was probably making, I mean, it had its own theatrical release movies being released, The Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, but it bombed.
It did bomb.
Its DVD sale, its VHS sales were good enough to get the sequel.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero with Mr. Freeze. But, like, even having that, like, oh, this is Batman, and, like, we have the live-action movies, like, Batman's a popular character. Like, you would imagine you wouldn't have to fuck with the formula for it on a show that's, like, currently still running.
No, they just had all the same people, and we're just like, we're cutting your budget down, make it work.
Yeah, and then it shows in the quality, at least in the animation style. The stories aren't terrible, but those first few seasons are so strong.
Yeah, I feel like they met a nice little. I think that they did a nice job meeting in between where they met with Justice League.
Yeah.
I think that was their nice middle ground.
Yeah,
I
totally.
thought that the animation on Justice League was a real good show.
Yeah, and it is not as different. Like, even the Batman character has sort of the same build he does in the Justice League Unlimited and Batman: The New Adventures. That even, like, the toys are pretty similar.
Yeah.
So, like,
here's a we'll just talk on this, and then we can
yeah.
get into it a little bit later. But I actually think that the style works better because Adam and I are both real big fans of Batman Beyond.
yeah, totally.
And I think that style works.
Yeah.
The sleekness and the cut, like the super sharp corners.
Yeah.
Works
Everything
for that universe better than I think the original would have worked. I'm sure it would have been fine
Yeah.
if they did Batman Beyond. But I think with the budget they would not have greenlit a Batman Beyond. You
Right.
know, they were like, all right, you can make something work with that. And what they've done with the DC animated universe is insane. But so let's go into this, Adam.
Totally.
Adam. There we go. I tried my best, but
did.
all right.
It's totally
All right, Danko. Let's go into this. Okay.
Okay.
So DC Universe is their new streaming service, their Netflix, their Hulu, their CBS All Access. I think it's probably most comparable to CBS All Access because
Totally.
it is all just CBS shows, and this is just all DC content.
Yeah.
They are going to be going the way of like a Netflix and CBS All Access, where you're going to be a paid subscription service to get all content and including original content. Do you want to go into, how do you want to do this? Do you want to go into each one and what our thoughts are on it, or do you want to ramble off a couple of good ideas or what we think are bad? What do you want to do?
So I do want to go.
You're the guest
point
today.
by point, but I do want to open it up and say, like, in this new age of where streaming is like how we consume content, I definitely understand wanting like your own service and all that. But this is the same problem I've sort of had with those like nerd boxes. is that they started out as just like a nerd box with all-inclusive shit, and then they started branching off into certain fandoms where it's like, here's a Doctor Who box and here's a Buffy box, and that's great and all, but like now you're separating us even further apart.
I understand, because it's like the guy who wants, well, you just finished it, but the person who wants the Rick and Morty box, probably there's a good chance the person who likes the Rick and Morty box probably doesn't want a Steven Universe box. Just saying.
Yeah.
You know what? I get where you're going with that. I like the theme ones. Like, hey, here's a sci-fi theme.
No,
here's a
I
horror
think they
theme.
should be broad enough.
Yeah, but indirect boxes for strict things is like.
And so with DC, like, not even the Warner Brothers part of it, it's like they're trying to do their own thing. I don't think Marvel has sort of done this yet.
I don't think does.
No, they're probably not. They have the Disney streaming
it's just Disney's.
Yeah,
they don't need to.
Exactly. So this is DC's version of trying to like be like, come to DC because we're awesome, and like trying to make exclusive content and all this stuff available with their like exclusive merchandise store that's only available if you get the DC subscription.
Yes.
Which is limiting an audience, but like at the same time, it sort of gears towards, okay, DC fans are gonna want the DC box.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, at what point do you just like, I have too many subscriptions?
Yeah, what happened to the joy of cutting the cable? Like, when now I'm seriously just paying... I pay for cable and I don't even fucking want it.
Yeah.
My roommate wants cable, but I want internet. And so I pay for all my subscription things, and, you know, and I pay for my cable.
Right.
And it's like, at what point is it going to be like, shit, CBS gets their whole new thing. I mean, Disney's going to be having one. Right. Then there's Hulu. Then there's Netflix. Then there's Amazon Prime. At least Amazon Prime Video comes with Amazon Prime. Like, there's a reason to own Amazon. Yeah, it's an add-on. It's a bonus. But I like, yeah, when is this going to be enough? Like, I'm debating on whether or not I want to get this because I mostly have all this shit already physically. Yeah. Like, I don't need all this. But so it is kind of odd because they're going to be coming out with a couple live action shows like Titans, which is clearly a Teen Titans show.
Yeah.
That I don't know how the hell this show is going to go.
Yeah, I'm on the fence.
Everything they're doing with the Robin pictures looks awesome.
Yeah.
Everything
That's
else,
what's getting me excited for
everything else though, like that Starfire. There's a reason why they haven't posted like an official picture of that Starfire, because my God, that costume looks awful.
Yeah.
And they made the girl who's playing Starfire is beautiful. I don't know if you've ever seen her outside of that ridiculous ass costume.
Yeah.
But she's a very pretty girl.
Right.
She looks fucking horrible in that show with the pink hair and that outfit. It looks super terrible. And that's supposed to be Starfire.
Yeah.
What? I have no problem with her being black now.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. That has nothing to do with the character. But what the fuck is she wearing, man?
And that's the thing. We see a lot of times with like studios that like make these superhero adaptations. It's like there are cosplayers that put so much time and energy into their shit that it looks like it should be in a movie.
Yes.
And then you have these studios that like half-ass a costume, and you're like,
give her a big pink wig and yeah, why don't you slap a skirt that you clearly got at a thrift store?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like if you're putting as much time and energy into your show, why not like up the value?
Like, how is this show gonna go? Is this gonna be going in the way of like a CW style, or is this gonna be like?
I think it might start out as CW style just because it has worked for a lot of those CW shows.
I hate the CW shows.
I know, but they do work. Like, I don't like every episode I watch. I try to only watch the Kevin Smith directed shit.
Oh, wow. Of course, that's why.
Well, I do, but that's like what got me interested in it. But some of the stories I can see. Supergirl I'm not as into because I watched like the first
I refuse to watch Supergirl, not because I don't like Supergirl. I actually prefer Supergirl over Superman.
Totally.
I don't like that they pretty much just made Superman a bitch compared to Supergirl, because let's be fair here. Supergirl is not as strong as Superman.
No, that's like the whole thing.
It's not a gender. It's not even a gender thing. It's just not.
Yeah.
They're just not. They're equal, but you know, if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, but if I were, Superman's the stronger character, and he is just a to put it in like, I guess the term in porn would be a fluffer. Because that's pretty much what he is.
That's true, though.
He's just there to make Supergirl look good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? You're just going to shit on Superman like that? Hey, and guess what? I'm all about shitting on Superman.
Yeah.
I don't like Superman, but
in the context of that show, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
But I do think it'll have, since it will be, a DC streaming, like their own shit that they're putting out, I think it will go a little darker and get its own like style to it. But I do see the appeal of like, so these are all teenagers basically. Like they haven't really done a live action version of this to start it out CW-ish.
Yeah.
And then make a shift somewhere in there. I'm hoping at least. I would love it to be dark or
I'm thinking
as
that
fun as the cartoon.
I think that DC, if I was going to be thinking about this, I would think that DC is going to be trying to do what Daredevil did with Netflix and say, hey, this happens in the DCEU, but it's never really mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they might say like, hey, Batman.
Yeah, like
I hung out with Batman.
Yeah.
I'm Robin. I don't know. Until I see a trailer, I'm really skeptical on this because they've been doing everything right with the Robin pictures, but everything else they just. Oh, Beast Boy looks okay, but so they're doing that. Then they're doing Doom Patrol, which before we even started the podcast, I asked, I'm like, Danko, what the fuck is Doom Patrol? Like, thinking you would know, and he's just like, I don't fucking know.
The best I came up with was like the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like it would be
just
a dark villain show.
It's like a world's strangest heroes, superpowered misfits live action show. So it just sounds like a bizarro, to quote DC, it sounds like a bizarre version of Teen Titans.
Yeah, it kind of does. And it wouldn't be surprising if DC was like, here's one show, and then here's the same thing, but we've changed
We made it goofier.
Yeah, like...
Yeah,
exactly. And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they'll be great and we can eat our words, but...
Yeah. That's the thing is, Adam and I, mainly Adam, we don't take it easy when it comes to the DC movies. We talk about how much we love the animated universe stuff, but we are not big fans of the DC current movies.
Totally.
Because besides Wonder Woman, I have not really seen one that I'm like...
all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I'd probably say the second best one is Man of Steel.
Okay.
I'd say.
I like the story in Man of Steel a lot. But I don't think it has a lot of rewatchability.
Yeah, I think the dialogue is bad.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue's really bad. Like, if you put the movie on mute, it's pretty fun watch.
Yeah.
But it's just, it doesn't work all the way for me.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of a potential for another one, Swamp Thing?
I'm super interested in the Swamp Thing.
I'm super interested in this. Do you remember the Swamp Thing animated show?
Yeah.
I used to eat all about that as a kid.
Yeah.
And I used to try to get Swamp Thing comics every once in a while. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And Swamp Thing seems super interesting how this works.
Yeah.
I just need to see some trailers and see, like, is this Swamp Thing connected with Teen Titans or Doom Patrol?
Yeah.
Is this connected with CW in any way?
They've other than like the few Robin pictures and whatnot, we haven't seen anything else on these other shows. We just
but it seems like this app is coming out. This sounds like this is coming out this year.
Yeah, so
like the way they're promoting it.
Like it sounds like everything's done. We're gonna release the app or whatever, and then you're gonna subscribe, and then you're gonna get all your shit all at the same time.
So we were watching the trailer, and I noticed a couple things. They said that they were also gonna be doing. They said 4 Superman movies. They not in the trailer, but in the thing, it's saying Superman movies. I didn't see anything with Superman Returns. I didn't see anything from the DCEU.
Right.
I didn't see anything from the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
No.
All I saw was Batman stuff from like
the 90s.
Yeah, but I didn't see Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, which I understand why you don't put that in the marketing. But all I saw was Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that the first 2 Tim Burton ones are in there. It's saying the first 4 Superman movies, which only 2 of them are watchable. And
Then they said Batman animated series in HD, which I'm really happy about that. But at the same time, I've also been sitting on my ass for the last year when they announced that they were going to actually make a Blu-ray version of Batman the animated series. So when that happens, cool. And then they said like the Wonder Woman television series, but no mention of the Adam West series.
It might have been an Instagram post, but it wasn't in the trailer. So like you have to sort of take what's in the trailer as what's
Did they announce that is going to be there?
They did mention that the Adam West shit was going to be in there.
Okay, cool.
Batman 66, but I mean that could all change. Like you said, they've left out a lot of like current stuff.
Yeah, I didn't see. You think when you have your new one, like you're promoting that you're going to be doing the Wonder Woman television series, but you're not promoting that you're going to have the Wonder Woman movie,
right?
Which was the big one, or show anything with like Justice League or Aquaman, like nothing. Like it was odd. All you had to do was just show one image of Heath Ledger turning around with the Joker, and everyone would have been like,
"Fuck yeah,
yeah, they're there." Even though you can watch them everywhere,
right?
But that's the issue that I have with this DC universe is that all these other movies, I'm assuming that they're just gonna pull them. From their current wherever the hell they are. And put them on there. But all these films are all very easily attainable ones.
It would be mostly, I would think, like the shows and the animated stuff like that isn't like you can go to like Walmart and buy shit in box set, but like the Wonder Woman show, like it's way easier to watch it when you have it at the click of a button.
Yeah, because you have to, instead of buying like the 3 seasons or something like that. Yeah, I understand that.
But yeah, all the movies and stuff. Like
I also thought it was just weird that they're promoting the Wonder Woman TV show from the 70s. Like, no one really cares.
No, it's not just the name. Like
you're just throwing Wonder Woman because that's all you have. I think
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and personally I hate that Wonder Woman TV show.
I don't hate it, but it's definitely not something I'm like, oh yeah, fucking watch the Wonder Woman show.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it doesn't have it's almost too cheesy, unlike how the Hulk.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Incredible Hulk show was like, it was watchable, it was cheesy, but something about it made you want to watch it.
It works better to me.
And I think it's because like the Hulk is like an actual dude. Like it's not some guy like Lou Ferrigno, he wasn't in.
It actually works better when you think that it's just not. If it wasn't called the Hulk, and this guy just kind of turns gets big, and gets big, everyone thinks that like, oh look, Lou Ferrigno is not the size of the real Hulk. No, but you're not supposed to think he's the
right.
You're just supposed to think that he's this really strong guy.
And to be fair, he's probably the only dude that can be like, I'm the Hulk. Everyone you see on screen is all CGI bullshit.
I think he has said that multiple times. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
So
he fought a bear.
He did
on screen.
He did. So here's the thing. What are you probably going to be getting this or no? What do you think?
I'm so on the fence.
Because they haven't announced a price.
They haven't announced a price. I would hope it's not more than like what Netflix and Hulu are, which is like... I think they've gone up to like $9.99 maybe.
Yes.
They used to be $7.99.
I'm going to say for this, for it to be marketable, I'm thinking $4.99 a month.
Yeah, but I think that'll slowly start creeping up.
Yeah, I'm sure when you start adding content, sure.
Maybe. Yeah.
But it just seems odd. I mean... You know, like these shows are expensive, and we didn't get into really like they're doing an adult animated Harley Quinn show, and they're bringing back Young Justice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this right now. I don't know how you would have felt on this. Young Justice wasn't really my favorite show. It was good. There was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't offensive or anything like that. I just was like, it was okay. If they would have said that they were going to be continuing the Teen Titans TV show, you would have had me on here.
Totally.
I mean, I probably would have canceled after like watching it. But if you had told me that, you would have at least got my money's worth for as much of the content, because I love the animated Teen Titans show. Go I used to shit on really, really hard until I realized that Go knows what it is now, and it
completely as a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it knows it's a joke.
Right.
When I saw that episode where they made fun of themselves, talking about, like, what? Why would you cancel this good show and then reboot us into this? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? On a cliffhanger? And when I realized what they were doing and that they don't make themselves serious, and, like, their poster for their Teen Titans Go movie, it says, like, the superhero movie to end all superhero movies, we hope. Like,
I didn't see that. I seen the poster, but that's cool that that's on there.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. I'm like, wow, they are just
going for it.
They are really going for it.
I mean, at that point, that's kind of what you got to do. Is like, you know, if it's not reaching the fans the way the original shit did, just go balls to the wall and just be like,
yeah, that's kind of like what I was kind of irritated. It's with Teen Titans Go, I was just automatic. It's kind of weird, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to equate it to another popular show that I really love. Actually, I love the show that they rebooted. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yeah, they're going the normal tone and it just, whatever. And it's Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Huge fan of the Powerpuff Girls.
I
love the Powerpuff Girls. And when they rebooted, I'm like, oh, look at this. They're changing the voices, but they're still kind of keeping the animation slightly similar. And they're still doing
it a little brighter, I think.
Yeah. It's a terrible show.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I haven't even touched it.
I sat through maybe like 8 episodes of it. And I haven't heard anything much better, but it's still going. So maybe I'll give it a shot again. Yeah. But I was like, I'm so excited. Waited for it day one to come. And I'm like, this is just... It's just not for me. It's not designed for an adult audience. Like, this is just bad. Whenever they're making, like, twerking jokes.
Really?
I don't know if it was a twerking joke, but they were definitely making, like, meme jokes on there. And I'm like...
That's a whole different... Even though, like, we still exist in that humor of, like, the internet and all that shit, it's... To have it adapted into a show that like you grew up watching that wasn't a part of that,
it doesn't work.
It
just does not work for me, and the spirit is just not really like maybe the spirit is kind of there, but the content is just not. It's like a whole different show. You're like, wow, this is just. And I tried my best. I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that. And by episode, I feel like if I'm 8 episodes in, which means I've watched 2 episodes a piece, so I'm just watching about 16 of these. It's once again, it's not like offensive.
Right.
But it's just clearly not designed for me.
Yeah.
Nor was the original Powerpuff Girls, but it clearly was not fully on a kid's show.
Yeah, that's true.
That show was dark at certain moments.
Him and whatnot.
Yeah, him was
the creepiest motherfucker.
Him's like is the like most like woke character ever. Like he was transgender before transgender was like kind of a thing.
Yeah, I know.
At least like it was mainstream. So it's funny because I was sitting there like, oh, this show looks different. I'll watch it, and it just wasn't good. And Teen Titans Go, I just shit on right on the get go.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and I'm like, it's not for me. Because it's just way too bombastic.
Yeah.
But I see what it is, and I guess I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
Although I just kind of wish that they would just bring back the Teen Titans show.
Yeah,
they specifically said that they left it on a cliffhanger on purpose because they wanted it to say that not every story in life gets a definitive ending.
I guess that's a better excuse than just
like they were. That was the thing. They were told this is going to be your last season, and they purposely left it on a cliffhanger.
Okay.
Saying that not everything gets wrapped up in a nice bow.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's better to be left asking questions about something.
All right. I can get behind that.
Yeah, I can get behind it, but I still want my fucking answers. I just want my goddamn show back.
Yeah. No, because a lot of shows will end on a cliffhanger, and...
It wasn't intentional.
Yeah, like, My Name is Earl. That one hurts me a lot.
Oh, yeah,
it ends with
a
to be continued.
I liked My Name is Earl up to a certain point, and then after a while, it just started getting a little too goofy.
No, it totally gets
And
goofy.
I love Jason Lee. I mean,
yeah.
Mallrats is my favorite Kevin Smith movie. It's probably in my top 5 favorite comedies of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe top 3.
Oh, shit.
It might just pass. I don't know. I'd say 100%. Usually when I say my top 3 comedies, I usually go in no particular order.
Yeah.
I usually say Monty Python, The Holy Grail, Spaceballs, and 40-Year-Old Virgin. Mallrats I might like better than 40-Year-Old Virgin. Mm-hmm. So It's definitely top 5. I'd have to. 40-Year-Old Virgin is just so classic to me, but so is Mallrats.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could give it up to 40-Year-Old Virgin. It's been a while since I've rewatched it, but
yeah, it still just holds up.
Yeah.
But Mallrats is just Mallrats is so good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's way the actual I don't know what version it's called, but it's way better than the like theatrical version or whatever. There's like 2 versions of Mallrats that I did not know. Like I bought the DVD.
Yeah.
And I just, watched Mallrats. It was fine. And then, like, one day I flipped it over, and there was a second cut of the movie on it.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it includes a lot of shit. Like, there's a whole scene where T.S. Quint and, what's his girlfriend's name? Not Renee.
Renee's is...
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that's going to bother the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Anyways, they're at like this school play or something, and they're in it, and he has like a rifle because he's in the Civil War, and like shit just goes wrong, and he's like on the roof, and they think that he's shooting at the audience or something like that. It's really bizarre and like fills in a few of the gaps, but I like the actual version that of Mallrats that I've seen a million times versus
I think the standard version is that now. When you buy it on Blu-ray.
I think it was so...
Why is that such a tough movie to get on Blu-ray?
I don't know.
Mine's an import.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I have no fucking recollection why that... You can get every single movie of his, like that, drop of the hat. Like, I'm seeing Yoga Hosers on DVD, on Blu-ray, but I can't find a good copy of Mallrats. Like, what's up with that?
It's Universal, man. I don't know what their shit is, but that was the thing. So Universal wanted to edit the movie, and then Kevin Smith always edited his shit. So he, edited a version for himself on what he thought the story should be. So that's the 2 different versions. It's not bad. It's just, the official version is way better.
Do you think that Mallrats 2 would have sucked?
I don't think.
I know it's you because it's tough to say with that. But
I know. Okay, and I also like
Clerks
everything.
2 is hilarious.
Yeah, I also like everything too, not just Kevin Smith shit. Like I have a very low bar for things. I'm like, it's watchable at least. But I think there would have been a lot of good parts to it. I think a lot of the jokes might have fallen, and if they did the next generation of mall kids, I don't think it would play as much because they don't go to malls like they did back when we did.
Yeah, I just think that the culture doesn't work.
Yeah.
Unlike with, Clerks still holds up.
Yeah.
Even the first one, how goofy it is. And then the second one, we're in their fast food. Yeah. And the mall area is just, the mall's just not a place that you go to hang out, and it wouldn't make sense for those people that age to be still going to the mall because the only reason why Brody would go to the mall was because he wanted to go to the comic book store. And no malls have comic book stores anymore. You just have to go to some... And it wouldn't make sense in the universe because he had his own comic book store.
By then, yeah.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know.
Though I think the plot was supposed to be Brody was going to try to save the Eden Prairie Mall from collapsing, and then he was going to buy it and shit like that. A real cheesy, we have to make a fundraiser or some shit like that. Which could have been really funny or really awful.
Yeah, I was actually kind of glad that they canned it, but I wasn't happy that they canned Clerks 3.
Yeah, that still hurts.
That hurts.
Jeff Anderson not wanting to do it. I get it.
Why?
Whatever.
What is he doing that he couldn't do?
He's not doing anything.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
I just don't think he's not interested in it anymore. And without him, the story was focused around him and all that shit. So it's well, we can't do Clerks 3 because this one guy won't do it. I know. And I thought it would have been such a nice, that's it. That's Clerks 3. That's the last one. And it would have been a nice window into their lives.
To be fair, though, I do believe that Clerks 2 ends on a really good note.
I know. I love the ending of Clerks 2.
I like the ending of, it still has one of my, I love the scene whenever he's just driving around listening to 1979.
Yeah.
Because I have that same feeling whenever I drive around listening to 1979 that I'm just where's my life going?
Yeah.
And where do I want to end up?
Yeah.
That's just every time I listen to that song. It's actually whenever I was, for those of you who it hasn't been mentioned before, I went to school for mortuary to be a funeral director, and they asked us what song they had to make us think for a week. They gave us 1 week to do a project, and to come up with a song that you would want to be played at your funeral. And I was like, fuck that. I don't need to think a week. I'll tell you right now. And it was Smashing Pumpkins 1979 is the song that I always, it's a weird thing is I always had a go-to that my song that I wanted to be played at my funeral was The Man Who Sold the World. And I still do, because that's my favorite song.
Yeah.
I would want the Nirvana cover. Mm-hmm. But I was listening, and I'm like, listening to the lyrics, I'm like, this is going to be hard to explain why.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to the lyrics and reading the lyrics to 1979. I'm like, wow, these are really dark, bizarre lyrics that just work. And it's just talking, like the whole thing, just the whole song makes me reflect about life. I don't know why.
No,
is that kind of dark for a...
No, it makes sense. Like, yeah.
It just works. Yeah. I don't know. It reminds me of...
And if it means something...
Reminds me of simpler times. I don't know why.
All right.
So
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's pretty much... We pretty much ran the gauntlet of the three little things. We had a lot... This is a lot different show. This is a very different show from what normally does, because I don't think Adam normally talks this much. So I'm actually sitting there bouncing back with Danko here. So it's actually been a real fun time to do that. It's a different change of pace.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And as much as I, love doing the show with Hillary and everything, she hasn't seen a lot of shit. So I'll get into, why I love it and give 17...
To be fair, I don't know how you have a girlfriend that hates Batman.
Yeah, no, that's actually how we became friends. Because we were, we had a really long work night. We were all backstage doing bullshit work. And I think I might have brought up was who's everyone's favorite superhero? Because that's a lame question, and it gets people talking.
It's a good psychology question. You really can gauge somebody's interest and their thoughts. And
somebody said the Flash, and I don't think Hillary might have been Spider-Man or Captain America, solely based on the movies and whatnot. And then I was just Batman, instantly, and. She went off on why she hated Batman, and I was just I get it. He's not a perfect character, but this is why I love Batman and all this shit. And her whole thing with hating Batman is just
it's really funny.
It's
she
hilarious.
She just fucking hates him.
Absolutely, viscerally hates Batman. So much so where I'm oh, they're doing this cool Batman thing. There's a reference to Batman in this thing, and she's ah. She rolls her eyes, and I'm just that's so funny. It doesn't even bother me at this point.
Yeah.
She now does it to piss me off.
Would she ever watch the Lego Batman movie?
She did.
Did she like it?
Because I was if you hate Batman, this is probably the
best movie for you.
Best movie for liking the character, because it's so on the nose and tongue-in-cheek and shit. And she was the amount it was in the Lego movie was enough. I didn't need a whole movie based on it. And I was fucking, I thought that would be it.
I thought that, that's what I would have said. I'm
I enjoyed the movie a lot.
I love the Batman. I love the Lego Batman movie.
References and shit.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah. It's more of a marathon of how much you can recollect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because whenever I talk about when someone asks me what my favorite superhero is, it is really weird because I feel I jump back and forth between Daredevil and Batman.
Yeah.
But I have to just automatically just say Batman is my favorite. It's been as a kid when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But I can say solidly my three favorite are Batman, Daredevil, and the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And those are the three favorite because they've always had a special place in my heart. But Batman was the kid that I'd be jumping around off of steps and porches with a cape pretending to be Batman. It's I get it. Batman is the most common answer, and but he is. He's the best one.
That's
he's
in my
the best.
opinion, and I try to give the argument so the Justice League is mostly God type characters, and here's this dude that's just I had the money, had the resources, fucking jacked myself up,
and I got fists.
Super smart, and I'm gonna fucking fight crime with my fists.
Yeah.
And it's that's amazing.
That's
so cool to me. And
the gallery, the Rogues Gallery, is fair enough. They're shitty ones like the ventriloquist that are still better than some guys' main...
That's true.
Come on. The ventriloquist, and then what's the Flash's?
A
reverse flash.
The color.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Reverse flash.
He runs in the other direction.
Yeah. What?
I will say even ventriloquist, like of the pantheon of rogues, like the ventriloquist is still higher than like Condiment King.
Yeah,
Has,
or
like,
Calendar
ketchup,
Man.
Calendar Man. Well, I mean, in the
I like
video
Calendar
games,
Man.
Calendar Man is pretty sweet.
Yeah, so is the Clock King.
Yeah, the Clock King,
the Clock
especially
King's-
from the animated.
I like the. That's
Yeah.
why I like the Clock
Yeah.
King. But even okay, I'll give you an even. I'll give you a. Okay, I'll give you a. I'd say a seed to D level one. That's better than anybody who is in Daredevil's. Oh, I can't say Daredevil because he got bullseye.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Let me see. We'll just go with. Let's see. Let's go with a DC.
I mean, like Green Lantern.
Well, Green Lantern has Sinestro, but I'll tell you right now. I mean, better than most.
Okay.
Their second tier supervillain. This guy's better. Professor Pig.
Yeah.
Professor Pig is better than most of all of DC's
That's true.
villains.
And like that's why the character of Batman is like so marketable and so like we can put Batman on anything. It's like not only is the character itself strong enough, but his universe is so expansive and so like solid that like like you just said, Professor Pig is
And Professor Pig is like very obscure. Like he kind of didn't get any like I have the DC. I pulled it out.
Yeah,
I was talking with Adam once about Professor Pig, and I looked into this DC encyclopedia. He ain't even in it.
Jesus Christ.
Like he's not even in it. Like they're still coming out with characters that like are good.
Yeah.
You know, like where do you get that anymore? And it's like, so Batman is the best. You know, he just is.
He is.
Sorry, Hillary, if you're listening.
She's probably not going to listen, especially since we went on for DC in general. It's just like and like as a huge DC fan of
tell her I
animated
said
stuff,
that.
I will.
Tell her Batman's the best.
Batman's the best.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I have like batarangs and like why every kid wants to be Batman.
It's true.
Just want to be. It's just the best. But all right, thank you so much, Danko, for coming and doing the show because this is a really fun show for us. I don't know how well this translates into an actual podcast format, but I mean, I hope everybody out there enjoyed. So definitely give Danko, if you enjoyed Danko talking and like him, give him a look over at Why Did Not You Warn Me?
Yes.
Where can people find that?
So they can download it on iTunes, YouTube. We don't have a video stream like you guys do.
But you do just have the audio, just in
We do
case.
have just the audio. On iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. I want to say iHeartRadio as well.
Oh, you might have more than we do.
Well, I tried to get them all. I think the one I'm still waiting on is Spotify, but it's like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, who fucking cares?
I just wanted to...
Fuck Spotify!
Fuck Spotify.
Fuck you, Spotify! We don't give a fuck about you! GTAS podcast said so. Go fuck yourself!
I mean, we just lost a sponsor, but that's fine.
Alright, well.
No, I wanted to make it available to everyone, you know, for like my mom and you guys to listen to. So you can check us out on there, and if you just like my take on some shit, you can like pretty much scroll through like halfway through the episode. Hillary is great, and I'm not just calling her down. She reads a lot, and all of her shit is really awesome. But I do just ramble for like...
Do you have a Twitter or anything that
half.
people can reach you at?
Not
or
really. I use
Hillary
Twitter,
does.
surprisingly. Yeah, pumpkin_crumb.
You say it in there. Danko has a theme song.
Yes, I went
He recorded his own theme song.
there's a website called Hook Music or something like that, where it's like just creatives making their own shit, and like you can buy it if you want to use it in a bunch of different places to make money off of it, or if you mention like it's from Hook Music and who made it, it's free. So I found like I pulled all these tunes with like the style of the show I wanted to go for. Found one and I was just like, I'll write some lyrics for this.
It makes me smile every time I fucking listen to it.
I'm so glad it helps. That makes me smile just hearing about that.
Like every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh my god, Danko, this is so insane. But it's surprisingly very charming.
That's really what I was going for. It was just like,
I'm not gonna lie, whenever I'm not sitting there going, why did not you warn me?
That makes me happy.
Yeah, I enjoy the theme song. I think it's so funny.
My funny part that like even Hillary gives me shit for is like if you listen to the full song, because like I do just put in the intro at the beginning of every episode and then an outro at the end.
Pumpkin underscore crumb is here too.
Yeah, like her Twitter handle, but there's like tune in, like a really bizarre part halfway through the song where it's just like I didn't know what
I would have loved to
say.
have been a fly on the wall during the recording of that. I'm sure it was very goofy.
It was. I was in the kitchen of our studio apartment with like a blanket over me
That's
to make
what
a
I
sound
heard.
thing.
It's so ridiculous.
And my plan was like to make
Poor Hillary has to
several
put up with
different-
this all the
She
time.
does, and she's like, "We're just fucking doing a podcast. Like nobody's listening." I'm like, "I don't care who's not listening."
If you don't have respect for yourself, why should anyone else treat you with respect?
Exactly. I'm gonna tell her that too.
Yeah. If you don't take yourself seriously, why should anyone else? But yeah,
I love that.
if you don't
yeah.
treat your show with respect, you know.
And my plan is to eventually not do a season 2, but when we, get a few more episodes under our belt, I'll make a few different versions of a theme song. So it'll be similar, like different music, but like the lyrics will get across the same info.
Do you know where
I can just change.
Do you know where our theme song's from?
I don't.
It's Ricky.
Oh, really?
Ricky's I Am a Sea. Yeah,
Yeah.
I Am a Sea Creature.
Nice.
That's his band.
That's
I
awesome.
I asked if I could use it, and he's like, "Yeah, go ahead, man."
Why not?
So I
Yeah.
just cut it, and I really like it.
awesome.
What I want to do is eventually change the intro to add a couple more stuff to it.
Yeah.
But
Like every new season of a show, sort of add some shit to the...
yeah, I'm not sure whenever I'm gonna change it to season 2. I'm thinking maybe 50.
Yeah.
I would
I
say
don't know
here's
what the-
season 2 would be a 50 episode thing, and I
Or
mean,
like when the year ends, like then cap it as like we have 52 episodes, one for every week of the year. I don't know.
oh, but here's another thing, real quick.
Yeah.
The quality of the show has definitely gone up since giving you that mic.
I know.
can actually listen to it now.
I love the mic and the setup we have now. Like even when we record in the kitchen with the fan going on, like I can just edit it out, and like the mic quality is so much better. I really do appreciate you.
Yeah,
guys
the
giving me
mic,
that
the mic works so much better
Yeah,
with that.
and I love it. It makes me feel a little more like I'm doing a show and not just talking into like my cell phone.
Yeah, it does make you feel a little bit like that was the same thing. Like I think you were doing that, and Adam and I, whenever we first started our first one, we were just doing it into into my iPhone.
Yeah.
And we were just like, whenever Adam saw that I was like getting all this equipment, he was like, "Fuck, we actually have to do this, don't we?" And now Adam takes it seriously, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's how it's exactly what I said. It's like if you don't have respect for your show, I mean, it's kind of like nobody's listening. Like we probably only have about maybe 5 to 10 listeners.
Yeah.
By the way, I love you all for that. But we have 5 to 10 people who listen pretty regularly, and I just kind of sit there and say like, yeah, well, my mom or my friends will be like, well, you don't have so many. I'm like, you don't really understand. I love those 10 people that want to just hear Adam and I bullshit for an hour and a half to
10
2
more
hours.
people than we had. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's more like, well, you got all this equipment, you got all this nice setup and all that, and no one's seeing it. It's like, well, if I had a shitty setup, why would anybody fucking want to watch it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just about, I was not happy with the product that was being released, so now I'm happy with the product.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing, like you have been saying. And also, like, it is for you. Like, when it comes down to it, like, as much as he does love all of 10 of you.
well, the main reason I do it is for these people now, but it's
like,
not fun if I'm
no.
like sitting there and I'm just like, well,
have
this is
to-
just some shitty show.
Yeah. You
Where-
have to get into it. And, like,
I mean, there was a
enjoy
reason
what
why
you're
like the
doing.
thing was just guys talking about shit. I mean, it's just what it was,
Yeah.
and it was just a shitty little thing. Now we're the best worst. Adam coined it. We're the best worst podcast you'll ever regret listening to.
I want that on a t-shirt.
That's a good one. If I ever do a GTAS shirt, that's exactly what I
That
would
would
do.
be awesome.
So, but once again, though, thanks again, Danko,
Yes.
for joining
I was
us.
happy to be here, and even though Adam's fucking off somewhere, I don't know.
Yeah, he's over in like his wife posted something that said like they were near like Chesapeake
Yeah.
Bay.
Yeah. He definitely didn't tell
Adam is
either
going
of
to
us.
fry. He can't even.
yeah.
He fried when he was planting corn in his backyard, let alone go to a goddamn beach.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Adam, man, you're gonna be burnt. You're gonna be redder than that the Tyrannosaurus Rex from Power Rangers. You're gonna be like the Red Ranger in real life. but still diabetic.
Well, yeah, you got to throw that in. That's a superpower.
That is a superpower, to be extremely diabetic. He actually is lost like 15 pounds because he stopped drinking soda.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
It's crazy. We were talking about how we went on this extreme. Both of us are doing different dietary methods.
Yeah.
Mine's a little more extreme than his. He just still does whatever he wants, but he just cut out soda.
Yeah, I mean, that'll do that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, he lost like 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He cut that out. And it's, anybody who wants to lose a little bit of weight, just stop drinking soda and you're good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you don't have to do mine, which is the potatoes.
Oh, the potato diet.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
I actually got it. I did a variation of what Kevin Smith did, surprising, because I was listening to him on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you gave a chance to listen to that,
I did.
but it was...
I tried to, because he's been on the show, the Smodcast show too, Joe Rogan, so I tried to get the episode that Kevin's on.
Yeah, it was really good, and I took the diet that he did and kind of mixed it up with some stuff that Joe Rogan does, and it...
Nice.
16 pounds later in less than a month.
Very cool.
Yeah, crazy.
Excellent.
So, but okay, everybody, thanks again. I really do apprate it.
Yeah,
but
I love being here.
Yeah,
I'm glad I could make it. And wasn't bullshit.
It's a fun time. Hopefully, if we do this with, I'm just gonna announce it now. I'm going to be going on vacation in about 2 to 3 weeks, so I don't know if you're able to come back for Adam, because we do it at my house, so I would just leave the door open or something like that for you guys to just come in. I wouldn't care. But until then, I guess. So until next time, don't get captured, and farewell.